Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I wanted to show my True Patriot Gear Set and actually do a short review on it. Now, I know I'm late to the party, but it's just the reality of how life actually goes. So I'm just getting my True Patriot Gear Set because it was kind of difficult to actually get all the pieces that I needed to get the complete set. And so I've just been taking my time farming, and I was able to get the final two pieces, which are the chest piece and the holster. Now, this gear set is quite peculiar, but I'll talk about the bonuses. And I know most of you already know the bonuses. A lot of people have written off these gear sets, but even when I made my video last time talking about the gear sets, I hadn't really tried this, but I'd watched videos on it, and I want to say that I do see some promise with this particular set. The other sets, from what I saw, I didn't necessarily feel convinced to actually touch those, but this one actually does have promise, and we'll discuss it as we're going through. So here are the bonuses. I'm going to run right through them real quick because I know you guys probably already know. So 10% damage to armor for the 2-piece, 10% protection from elites for the 3, 10% total armor for the 4-piece, and then the red, white, and blue is the 5-piece, where if you shoot an enemy, you can mark them either red, white, and blue, or all 3 debuffs. And so the red mark, if they have a red mark, their damage dealing is actually reduced. If they have blue, it boosts your skill cooldown for everyone in your group, and then white restores armor to friendlies that shoot the enemy that's marked white. So this then goes into the full flag, which if you shoot an enemy that has all the 3 debuffs, you will deal 25% damage to other nearby enemies that have at least one of the debuffs. Okay, whatever. Now, I don't think that this gear set was actually intended to be a damage dealing gear set. If you look at everybody's gear, everyone's PvE gear has got damage to elites up to over, I mean minimum you'd be running 75% on a more conservative build. If you look at a backpack these days, everyone's running on the ropes, everyone's running safeguard, everyone's running everyone's running berserk and unstoppable force. And so it seems like everything's been narrowed down in a sense, and there's a lot of gunplay in the game, and that's been the focus so far. So a gear set like this actually does not necessarily have a place to actually be very useful, except for the fun factor. And I think unless the meta shifts, then we're going to see something where this build can work. But when it comes to the fun factor, and I've tried only the True Patriot so far, and this one, I would say this one is the most fun build out of all of them. And just for the heck of it, that's the only thing that's going to make you run a build like this. There is almost no reason, but I just wanted to say that I really think it shows a lot of promise. And I ran it today in a mission. I got kicked after the mission. I don't know if I got kicked because I wasn't pulling enough weight, or because they probably wanted to go and maybe get a friend in their clan. But I literally, after the mission, they didn't even wait for me to try to run back in through Lincoln Memorial. I was trying to get my gear, and as I was running, and everybody wanted to go, everyone was in such a hurry. So I tried to run back down and maybe pick up my items, and man, they kicked me out of the group, man. And so I don't know, maybe that was just them wanting to go do something, or maybe I just, sucked so bad in my gameplay. But here's my take on the gear set. The gear set is actually decent. I think from now, we've seen 3 different gear sets. All of them are, in quote, underwhelming, and I think the developers have purposefully designed it. Another thing, too, the developers have said is they actually wanted the discussion to continue to go through the community, and they can actually, in a sense, maybe tweak some attributes to these gear sets, or even some talents in regard to underperforming talents. The community raised, some concerns, saying that there are talents in the game that don't even perform. And the developers actually said that they have recognized those talents and are willing to actually take a look at them. So this is an ongoing process. And like I've said before, if you have the time, if you have the space, if you have multiple characters, farm these gear sets and hang on to them. I don't think there's going to be a permanent place where they're all just underwhelming. I genuinely think as content is coming and maturing, the developers will start to add, a lot more, maybe tweak the buffs or add content where they actually fit into. I think the developers are very, very slowly putting anything into this game because one of the things that we see a lot in the division is, you know, in PvP, everything gets abused, and then people complain, and then things get, you know, nerfed. And so it's a cycle. All the changes so far that we've seen, not all the changes, but most of the changes so far that we've seen are because of abuses in PvP. And a lot of PvE players don't PvP anyways. I don't PvP, but a lot of that came from the community. We saw videos, we saw a response, we saw Reddit, and we saw everybody yelling, and then the developer stepped right in. And so it's just, on that side of things, it's just always going to be like that. So I think the developers are just taking their time. You know, if they want to make a change, they'll make a change. If they don't want to make a change, there are enough talents in the game, and there are enough builds that will get you through any kind of content that you want. So it's not a thing where you have to actually go. I mean, you could do your builds and do your loadouts and stuff, and it will really make sense for you. So this is my True Patriot Gear Set. I'm happy to have a set of it. Even though, you know, it's not something I will run all the time, it's still nice as a trophy to kind of shelve somewhere. And so I just wanted to show you guys and put out my opinions about it. And I think it's genuinely going to change. And I do think that there's probably maybe in the future going to be content that can be actually tied and make it useful for that content. Or maybe there might just not be anything. Who knows? Anyways, I want you to leave comments in the comment section about this whole gear set thing. I would love to continue to have the conversation with you guys, because I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. And, you know, coming from the Division 1 where gear sets were powerful and they were everything and all the other builds were irrelevant, it makes a lot of sense now that the developers are bringing out gear sets that are probably just specific to a particular play style and are more than likely forgettable. And I think we're in a good place if that's what they want. But I would hope that they, you know, introduce newer talents into the game. Talents that can do some really cool stuff. Weapon talents, maybe, you know, gear talents that we've never seen, and start introducing it into the meta little by little. So that, you know, if it may just be a thing where the game may not need gear sets. But, you know, if there's a diverse pool of talents, then that can also start to bring a diverse pool of builds and play styles. So I'm going to get out of y'all's hair. Thank you very much for listening and watching this video. I appreciate your time and audience. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace.